think we're live now. Yeah. So last week we got a review from Adam, who's a Sphinx expert. And this is on adding the grammar snippet directive. I think you were here when this was proposed, actually. So the question here is why group instead of a directive argument. And I will need to think about the answer here. Let's look at the other ones. Next up, optionally you could add type hints.
True.
Sure, I could add type hints. Why not? Notes.paragraph. Implementing compact production list as a subclass of grammar snippet and overriding the relevant bits.
True, that does make sense.
So I mean, I feel like they share functionality, but they're not really subclasses. They're they're separate. They're not like compact production list is not whatever the other one is.
Grammar snippet, wasn't it?
Grammar snippet, right?
Oh,
compact
you passed it.
production list is not a grammar snippet. Right, so maybe it would be better here to see what we use the directive for and try to get rid of that. Let me open up the branch. So that's doc grammar snippets. Oops. So GitHub makes it really easy to copy this thing, but when I only want the branch name, it makes it really hard.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Also, this button only copies to the Control-C clipboard, not the one for middle click. It's quite annoying.
It's very rare that I use the middle click clipboard.
It's really useful.
I suppose, yeah, but at the same time, I mostly just click it on accident when I'm trying to.
Yeah,
anyway.
I no longer do that. So one thing that's really cool about having two clipboards is I can copy something to the normal clipboard, then select something, and then I can div those.
True.
Right, so this is not a very good div, but this is like 2 seconds to get a div of anything. It's like the killer feature of this. Otherwise, I'd combine them. Anyway, where was this? In top level components. No, in extensions, grammar snippet. Doc tools extensions. Grammar snippet. Here we go. So, what do we need this directive for? We need it for the env and state.
Would it be possible to, instead of subclassing, just extracting the features from the main one into, like, instead of A derives B derives C, the A derives B, A derives C. Oh, you know, wrong verb, but you get the idea.
Well,
I think
A drives C and B drives
like
C as well.
Extract the common code into a separate class.
Like a mixin?
You know, I never learn what a mixin means, so I can't answer that.
So a mixin is basically a class that has common functionality for two related classes or more related classes, but it doesn't inherit from the common superclass. Let's find an example. That'll be easier.
Okay.
Where do we have a mixin? There's a lot of them in tests. Oh, here we go. This one. No. Oh. Right, so here's an event loop tests mixin, which defines a few methods and such, and then it's used here and there, right? So both of these classes are
basically
supposed to inherit from testUtil's test case. Otherwise, the mixin doesn't really make much sense with its super setup and stuff. But the mixin itself doesn't inherit from the intended superclass.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking.
Right. So I could do that. I could do a third class that's not a mixin, so that would inherit from Sphinx directive, but it wouldn't really be a directive itself.
Yeah.
So I guess the main reason I want to avoid that is because when I have a method, I explicitly control the input for that method.
Yeah.
So I know what it has access to, and I know it doesn't interact with anything else. If I subclass, I get a bunch of functionality that I don't know about, and that's spread across 3 projects at this point.
Yeah.
CPython and Sphinx and docutils. Yeah, so I guess that'll be my answer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And now, can we factor this into a helper method? Like note object. A helper method for adding a link target similar to Sphinx production. That's not a bad idea. I mean, it'll probably only appear in this place. And here, S and B, a pigments class. Is there a way to avoid hard coding this? Right, so that's a chicken and egg problem. We can put this in the Python docs theme, but that's a pull request for a different project. So I want to hard code it first and then add it to the theme and then go back and change it here.
Sure.
Alright, so actionable points here. So the ones I don't have to explain, but I want to change in code. So this is type hints. Grammar snippet directive run will have this type hint.
Hello. Hey, sorry I'm late.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we just last week we got a review on the pull request, so I'm going through the feedback there. And one of the feedback points was adding type hints.
Oh, type hints. Yeah.
Which I don't usually do for my own projects. So apparently the setup returns something called an extension metadata.
Oh. Wow.
Which is imported like this. Let's see, does anything imported
Here. It's really weird.
is this from future import annotations like this? So this is a lot of code for I mean, I don't see the benefit, but
What is from future import annotations?
so that's a feature that was supposed to be enabled in the future, but it wasn't, and now there's a replacement coming for it. And what it does, it turns all the type annotations into strings.
Well, I thought it was denied. No, deferred. It was deferred. I didn't think they were implemented already in the future.
It's deferred. So
Until 3.9?
So that's actually an interesting interesting detour here. So that was deferred and deferred again, and then replaced by a different proposal. Right.
I see.
So
which is this one?
3.14. No, this one is all type annotations turn into strings.
Okay,
right, so at runtime, this none will be a string. This extension metadata will be string.
Okay.
What that means is it doesn't matter if this is imported or not. Right. So this has if type checking, so it's never actually imported. Right. The type checker will well, that's static analysis, right? So it doesn't actually import anything, but the type checker will treat it as if it was imported, but at runtime it won't. So this class doesn't really exist, and so without the future annotations, this would be a name error, right? But because we have turned all annotations into strings, this is just a string that says extension metadata. And if you want to get the actual class, you have to call some helper. Or just, I mean, a reasonable way to solve the problem. So one of the problems this solves is recursive classes, where you need the annotation before the class is actually defined.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, I guess this is for speed, so it's not imported unless you're actually type checking. Anyway, there's a better way to do this, which is instead of turning it into strings, it's turned into little lambda functions. So it's a bit like, so in 3.14, if you don't have this, this will become something like a lambda extension metadata.
Interesting.
And it'll be executed if you ask for the annotation, but otherwise not.
Huh.
So it won't be a name error until you ask for the annotations, and at that point you can give it a different namespace or whatever, and it won't error anymore. So that way the runtime information is still there. It uses the proper namespace, so you don't have to do hacks to extract the actual type. But of course it's a bit more difficult to implement in CPython. Yeah, so this feature import, I think it's the first one that doesn't actually that won't actually be enabled after some period. There was a lot of these in the Python 2 to 3 transitions, like Unicode strings and true division, things like that.
And print.
That you could kind of opt in per file to the new functionality. So every one of them became default after some time. And I think this is the first one that didn't. Anyway, so I guess just I copy this into the grammar snippet. From future import annotations. From typing import type checking. And from type checking import extension metadata. And setup will return extension metadata. And the app will be a Sphinx. Okay. We have an app anywhere else? Probably not. I guess I need to import Sphinx as well, if type checking. And I'm not sure how to actually run MyPy.
Yeah, I know.
So I guess it should be in the dev guide. So yeah, this was added by people who do this. But I haven't seen actual documentation about how to do the type checking.
I'll go ahead and ask in the channel.
Well, you can do that. I mean, how do I check if it's complete? How do I know how much to annotate? I don't know. Probably function definitions. So this looks fully annotated. This looks, I mean, what's the directive? What's an options? What's the content? String list? No, I think I'll just give up on this actually and ask on the pull request.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay, which means all I want to do here is respond to everything. So why group instead of directive argument? So that's a good question.
that's the command that I got from my. Okay, I'm sorry. Which PR number is this?
My by strict src. Oh, that's just for general project, right?
Yeah, that's just in general. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if meant by strict, if I do that for dog tools extensions, I get a bunch of pre-existing errors.
Okay. It's funny, Adam says it's not required for the document build, but I think it's more because of your pull request, specific to your pull request. Is that right?
Yeah, it doesn't rely on my plan. That's fine. Keep using arguments for group instead. Something like that. Here. Okay. Or maybe I don't want the strict. Library stubs not installed for Pigment's Lexer. build environment has no attribute audit events. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Next up, could we factor this into a helper method? So yeah, that's adding the target. That's a pretty good suggestion, I guess. So we want to create this name node, which makes a link to a token. So what do we need here? Directive, I think, is imported. No. We need an env and a state. So I guess we need the whole directive. We need a group name, and we need a name. Prefix is there. return the name node. Right, and now we have two functions that both take a directive. So it now might be time to actually make this into a mixin class. So let's do that. So this would be a grammar snippet mixin. And instead of directive, we say self. And where do we have directive? Oh, we don't have directive anywhere. Okay. So directive is only used in this and this function to make a link to a token. Yeah, so now I see another problem with subclassing, and that's this now becomes a method, and I hope I'm not overriding another method with the same name. Could there be a method with the same name somewhere in the hierarchy? I don't know. Anyway, this will return this class would be common functionality for the two subclasses. Self is now Sphinx directive, hopefully. And I guess if we want to add typing, it'll need to be a subclass anyway. So subclassing doesn't really I mean, I guess a mixin doesn't really have any advantages anymore if I do it like this. So I do it like this. And I need to take this, I need to keep run that delegates to this make snippet, which is now a method, so it should be self.makeSnippet. And maybe I should namespace it a little better. So there's options and content is not always self options and self content. So I need to keep it like that. Hopefully that's correct. Let's see if apparently the docs don't build for me. So do I have a Sphinx that's too new? Maybe I haven't updated to the latest main branch. So what do? I think I'll stash this. I'll merge in the main branch. Try to build the documentation. Okay, now it looks like it built. So I've been talking to myself for quite a while. Do you have any comments about what's going on? Oh, wait. How did I get you all muted? I'm sorry. If you said something, I didn't hear you.
Oh, no, everything so far just follows, I guess. I don't, how do I say this? I haven't found any problems yet, so I don't have anything to comment.
Alright, so now I'll try to build everything with the new code and see what changed. I wonder how I got you muted though. It's weird.
I don't know. Blaze is actually muted, but I don't know. I don't remember you saying anything. Maybe you just misclicked.
Things build.
Sorry, what was that again?
Oh, nothing. We were just talking about how We were all muted and saying things that others couldn't hear.
Couldn't hear. Oh, yeah. No, I was puttering around in the kitchen. I didn't want the noise to disturb anyone.
Right.
Oh, maybe Adam responded. Let's see. Oh, Adam seems to think he's not running MyPy in CI.
Oh.
Okay. Huh. So then why is what is he running?
I guess he's running
well, he's
MyPy
not running
locally.
it in CI. Yeah, exactly, locally, yeah. I mean, after all, it was just I mean, he was just suggesting it. I don't think it's a requirement to do the type checking. I'm baking bread, so every now and then I have to run away from the keyboard and make sure I haven't burnt anything.
Typo here. And hopefully this is
I'm not.
correct.
Oh, sorry. Go
ahead.
No, I'm not going to go into details because I know this is not the place. But I'm so tired of American politics. Like, I don't even live there, and I'm tired of it. Like, I don't know. That's it. That's all I want to say. I'm sorry. It's just.
Maybe let's keep it at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very happy I don't live there right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's add these comments and push the branch. Target's problem is annoying, so that's a nice confirmation that this magic is actually required. And yeah, I guess we're trying to do something for which is the system is not set up, so
Yeah.
Okay.
right, so that would be responding to the review, and I guess we can go right back to whatever we were doing last week, unless this fails to build, and it does fail to build because there's a lint error.
Oh.
Import block is unsorted or unformatted.
Oh, come
There
on.
are too many blank lines. Okay, so we go back and hunt these issues. So import block is unsorted or unformatted. Oh, there's too many blank lines here. That's definitely true. And what did we do? Did that even change? What? Nothing changed. Is there just like a new check or something? How do you sort this?
Do you use isort or something like that?
Well, I guess I need to use the tool that this uses, which is rough.
Rough just checks, but it doesn't actually do the sorting. Let's see. So
Rough.
Oh, does it want maybe
Help.
Does docutils? Does it want a space between docutils and Sphinx?
I don't know. Rough check. Doc tools. All checks passed. Okay, so.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it's one error. Maybe it says import block is unformatted, and the reason it's unformatted, it has too many blank lines. Would that be it? I hope that's it, because otherwise I don't know.
Hello.
Remove the very dangerous, unacceptable blank line. Okay, let's see. This is would reformat, so maybe it can reformat things.
I think it's just because it's in dry run mode.
Yeah, it would be nice if it showed the diff here or something. It would be even nicer if it actually did the commit and.
I think that would be a step too far.
I mean, if you have a project that requires that.
I don't know. What if there's an error in the tool? It just commits on top of you, like.
Well, if there's an error, Oh, there's a lint warning. Would reformat.
Do you guys think this is the error?
Okay.
One file would be reformatted, 9 folder are reformatted. Execute 1. Rough format, okay.
Run rough format. Rough format. One file reformatted. Okay, it did. What did it do? Reformatting. Whatever.
Is it?
Fine.
It seemed to join some separated function called things.
Yeah.
Well, rough and black are kind of they have a bit of an overlap, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think something
That's good.
fits on a
I
single
don't
line,
like.
so that's whatever. I don't know. I don't know why this
really
is
don't
important.
Like black. My wheel.
I have no idea why this is important. I'm not in charge here.
I hope this is important. Black is a bit too authoritative to my taste.
Yes.
Like, you can barely configure it.
Yeah, it's well, it's like they say, you can have any color you want as long as it's black.
Anyway,
Error.
so there's an error that says make link to token missing to. Oh, I didn't give it the arguments. But why did it?
No, whoops. Why did it run? Did it run?
So let me. Oh, I didn't remove enough of the cache probably. So let's try it now. Ah, there we go. Right, so
okay.
Before I removed docked build to HTML, but I guess there's an intermediate format between the source and HTML that I didn't remove.
The doc trees.
The doc trees, yeah, something like that. Alright, so make link to token. This needs group name and name, which are just things we left the same. I really hope this doesn't need more reformatting. Okay, so remove all the cache and try again. Oops, sorry. Rough is okay with this.
Is there a way to run GitHub Actions locally?
Yes. I think there's a thing called GitHub Runner. GitHub Action Runner?
Yeah, I think
I know you can't in GitLab.
Somebody basically reversed engineered GitHub Actions
and
made some container that you can run.
That's okay. Well, that's one way to do it.
Not something I'd trust.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a way to run the actual tool locally, I prefer that. Because then you can give it another option, for example, right? So you can, if it runs rough check, I can give it rough auto reformat and do whatever you want. Okay, now it looks reasonable.
So you can just so you can check without committing and pushing and waiting for the action to be instanced. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same way you can't run. They used to be able to run it locally, but they took it away. They deprecated it for some reason. Nobody knows.
I guess it's just too hard to support. Okay, let's look at the
It's
file
just a
annotation
Docker image, though.
components. What's the last one? This one. Everything still looks good. So what's changed here? Hopefully this way it'll work. Yeah. Time to wait until the CI runs. Yeah, I guess the problem there is if you can run it locally, then anybody can set up their own GitHub actions and they lose some of the vendor lock-in they need. But that's of course a cynical reason. So meanwhile I open Discord in another window off screen and I see Adam's comments. We don't run MyPy and CI at the moment. Right.
I had never heard of Woodpecker. I am going to save this for later because I am using CI heavily in another project.
Woodpecker?
Woodpecker.
Yeah,
it's
Go ahead.
I only what's on the front page, so it's a CI platform thing.
It's what's
It runs in
incorporated
Docker.
into yeah, Codeberg uses it.
Oh, nice.
Really?
It's kind of becoming the alternative to GitHub Actions among the Git/Forgeo community.
Nice.
Interesting. Never heard of it. I will check it out.
I mean, if you can run this locally and it just spins up some Docker containers or Podman containers,
I don't really.
That would be great.
Based on there we go. Well, based on Docker containers, plugins, yeah.
Oh, why not? Not for CPython, but
No, of course, yeah.
alright, so doc tests are running. Docs are good. That's great. Doc tests are running and so GitHub hides the successful checks. So it hides this. Let's see if it looks good here. Yeah, everything looks good here. The ones we didn't change, like expressions, look rather good too. We have a pigments class here. We have a modern symbol here, so this looks good. I think we can switch the branch now. To grammar and docs. So Blaze will remember this.
Oh yeah. This is cool.
And I need to make stuff. Oh, so CPython docs now need a new version of Sphinx, but that new version of Sphinx breaks on the documentation as it was like a month ago. So oh, I don't want the grammar and docs branch. That's the old branch. I want which one do I want? I can run git foreach ref and sort by committer date. This is my go-to command for I forget which branch name I want to switch to, and I think I want to switch to grammar improvements. Right, so git foreach ref gives you a listing of all the branches and tags and similar stuff. Sort committer date will sort it so the later ones appear at the bottom, which is where I want them, and then I can grep it and get this. And check. Yeah, this ends with reword the section on f strings, so this is the correct one. And I can remake this, and apparently need to merge main. So this is my shortcut for merging in main. So it fetches the main branch and merges it in, and I can make duplicate C declaration in type objects. Pigments lexer plain is not known. Okay, this is probably something we have introduced in this branch. This is probably not something we have introduced. So type object 534 duplicate C declaration also defined at the same line. Let's not debug that at this point. That looks weird. So what we were doing last time was going through lexical analysis, and we got to f strings and try to somehow reword and reformat how f strings documentation looks. Now let me open the output here. So this is for lexical analysis, and I guess the best thing to do eventually would be good to go through everything and read it and see if it makes sense. And I don't know if it's a good idea to send this all as a single pull request.
It could be problematic.
There's still some to do here.
I mean, we could certainly give it a try, but I worry that we get into bike shedding if there are too many changes at once.
Yeah, but we could also split it into several pieces and if somebody says, you know, we need to also change the section of it on f strings, we can point to the full version.
Mm.
Right, so there's a to do here we'll need to address. So I don't know if you're familiar with how this is documented currently.
No, not really.
But like the main theme here, I guess, was to start with simple examples of what the thing actually is, then give the formal grammar, and then go into details. And this works reasonably well for strings. For f strings, yeah, this'll give the grammar up front. Then gives it like a description, and then goes into detail about the expressions, debug output, convert field, and format specifier. And that's it. I think this ended up in a pretty good shape last week, except for this note and detail, which I'm still not happy about. Well, maybe let's look at that first. So if this is not a node, there will be no border around this, which makes it very hard to see where the implementation detail starts and ends. I wonder if I can, like, is there something like a node but without this?
Okay. Okay. Stupid suggestion.
Yes.
Is this? No. I am going to give you a suggestion. You're fine. You're good. What I'm going to suggest is, can you set the display property of the node text as hidden or none? I don't know which one it is.
Not really. When you mean an HTML?
Yeah.
So the problem is...
Because you can inline classes. Can you... Yeah.
Yeah, this... What?
Ooh.
Stan has a suggestion. Thank you, Stan.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh.
Use a generic admonition. Yeah, that was exactly what I was looking for.
Thank you for all this stuff. I'll be back next week, hopefully.
Sorry, Discord just
Cool.
dropped me out. So you're leaving? Sorry,
Yes, I am leaving. Sorry.
See you
my
next
time has
week.
reached. See you next week. Bye.
Error in admonition directive. 1 argument required. So let me open the Stack Overflow link. Admonition. Yeah, if I use an admonition, I guess it still needs
The CSS.
needs a heading, like a text for the top here. Oh, the title, And an escaped white space can be used. This feels like a hack. Let's use it.
Yeah.
Let's get it in and see what it looks like with the Python docs theme.
By the way, you stopped your screen display for some reason.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not sure why.
I clicked on the link from the chat and
Okay.
I shouldn't have done that. I think that was probably what muted me last time.
Oh, I see.
Clicked on something and okay,
You're
it
back
looks
now.
like this is escaped white space, which needs a space at the end of the line, which is something that no linter likes, and my editor doesn't like it either. So to see what this looks like, I will probably have to use a more stupid editor. So admonition, and put in a space this way. Of course, that is not very likely to work. In a pull request, so let's see where we are here. Okay, so yeah, it still puts in the colon. It does need a title, and it puts a colon after the title, so that's not it. It would be nice if I could maybe style the implementation detail as an admonition.
Oh.
But I don't think I can do that.
Is it not a type of like note or info or whatever they're called?
Maybe what I want to do is just make this a single paragraph.
Yeah.
Without the list. If I can link to f-string start, is it like token.fstring start?
Oh, nice.
Okay. This is it. Okay, so I link to, however I link to this. So this is, let's see. This is a data. Token list.inc. Auto-generated by generate token. Oh no! I wanted to put in something here. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, generate token.py. Let's see if I can influence that somehow. Doc tools. Wait, what did it say it was generated by again? Tools build generate tokens.py. Tools build generate token.py. Well, there's a header file, there's something, there's token inc. Tokens in file. And what's the in file here? Grammar tokens. What does grammar tokens look like? nothing. Ah, that sucks. So we cannot really add documentation for these tokens unless we change this file. Wait, there are some. Comment. How does that get generated? Oh, it's duplicated. Oh dear. How does Sphinx not complain about duplicate definitions here? There's data comment, and this generates a data comment. Oh, there's no index. And no index doesn't give you a definition. Okay, so we could either make a detour here and make this part of the documentation better, so we can add something here.
It seems like it might be useful, but I don't know.
Right, so
I mean, it would be
f-string start. Yeah. So maybe what we can do is, instead of generating the token list, check the token list. Right? So we generate the easy ones here for like where are they here? Generate the ones that are just for little pieces of text, like operators and delimiters. But the other ones should really have some kind of documentation, right? So what we can do is generate a table for these. I think it would be nicer as a table because they are all the same, and we can for the other ones the script can just make sure that they appear in the restructured text file. And maybe it should also make sure that nothing else appears here. Does that make sense? Type.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You have type comment here? Probably, yeah. Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do. Unfortunately, that means a new branch. What did we do so far? Do this admonition, and now yeah, let's do that first. And then we need to remember to go back to this branch. That's probably something for like a to-do file. Doc grammar improvements for improving the lexical analysis page, and branch token docs improving token documentation, so we can link it so that we can link to the f-string start. So that f-string start etc have info that we can link to. Alright. So I'll update my branch. Switch to a new token docs. And how does this work? So there's token list doc.inc, which gets generated by the generate token.py. I will grep for generate token .py, and apparently it is called by the make file several times, one for each file it generates. So this call generates token.rst, blah, blah, blah. So if I do make regen token, this will rebuild all of Python because I'm calling make, but then it will, yep, call this. And I wonder if this also has some kind of check token. I know there's like a CI workflow that says check if generated files are up to date. Let's find that. Is it part of build? check if generated files are up to date. Okay, so this how did this get so big? Install dependencies. Does this actually build all of Python?
Oh.
So make regen all, regen module name as bomb and Unicode data. Why is this two separate make commands and only one who has J4? I'll never know. And it does check for changes, so it does git status, and if something changed, it tells you what changed and it gives you a diff. That's great.
Oh wow, that is cool.
Okay, so what we want to do is look into this make RST, and make RST takes in file and out file, so that should take two in files. One for generating, so ideally it would generate the data only for the simple tokens, and for the other ones it will check if all the tokens are present in the restructured text file. Okay. So let's see how that should look. So all of these should be here, and we need to write documentation for all of those.
Okay, like prose.
Yes. All of these will stay here because there's nothing. Oh, well, the docs can be auto-generated for those. And then these will be here again. What we can do now is this comment, which is twice. Do that. And L as a non-terminated new line. Encoding. Doesn't that appear here? License tokens. Don't put encoding in here. Well, we should have encoding here. There's type comment. For which we already have documentation, and exact token types is not a token, but it looks exactly like one. Right, so we will add docs for all of these. That shouldn't be that hard, and then we say literal text, like a few characters. Usually these are operators.
Okay.
Or delimiters, and we can link to that. We should link to lexical analysis at the very end. Delimiters. Delimiters and operators. And then should turn this into a table, but that's for later. Okay.
Token-list.include, is that what that is?
Yes. So this is auto-generated, and then it's included. And it's done this way so that you don't mix handwritten and auto-generated text in one file, which is always a good idea.
Wow, that is slick. Okay.
Do that in a few places. But now, since we have documentation for some of these, we do want to mix them together. So to avoid mixing the auto-generated file with the prose here, what we could do is add the documentation directly here, which I don't think is a particularly good idea. Or we could have a separate file with some kind of mapping, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So what I think we should do is change this into a checker. So this would take a
Change that into a checker? Okay. Oh, okay.
RST file. Token list dot token.rst, and it'll check that token.rst contains all the tokens except for the ones it generates, and it will only generate the ones with the literal string value. Right?
Okay.
So where is this called? Is this? There's some magic to call these functions, right? Yeah, their main function will call. This is. Yeah, this is fun. Make up args. Okay. Yeah. So this will call main with the arguments from the command line. From the first argument, it'll it'll add make to the first argument and call that as a function on all the other arguments.
Okay.
Which is fine. Probably want to say what is generated by what here. So this is make RST. There's a make H, and there should be a make C as well. Yeah. And we'll say that token dot checked. probably want to have the same argument order as before, so I'll put this here. Okay. So now if value is in talk to string, we generate this. Otherwise, we add it here. And now what does this do? This is talk names up to error token +1. What does that mean? There's error token and there's also encoding. So the generated file goes up to exclamation. No, previously it went to up to error token.
Okay.
And didn't include encoding, which is a bit of a special case that we can get rid of because we want to include everything. We do want
I see.
documentation for that. So yeah, that was the only one that was documented explicitly but didn't have the no index, so it wasn't duplicated. And it looks like this special case wasn't extended for all the other ones that got documented. And there's also this, the following token type values aren't used by the C tokenizer, but are needed for the tokenize module. That is actually only true for encoding. Right, so that paragraph here was outdated at some got outdated at some points. This should be just that one. Alright, back to here. So for the other ones, so what we do, I guess we read this file. We go through each line, and if the line starts with data, that's a token definition. Maybe we should use a regular expression here. This doesn't use RE yet.
Okay.
So we want data word characters, and then And it could have a space and anything else. Because
Okay.
after that, I mean, that doesn't appear anywhere yet, so let's not put it there. This would be full match on the line. And I guess we're filling up a set that has handwritten doc. We have the group number 1. And if needs handwritten doc is not as handwritten doc, we have a problem. How does this handle errors? Do we have arrays here anywhere? On exit? No. So we say that this so the missing or undocumented tokens would be the ones that need a doc minus the one that have a doc, and there could also be documented non-existing tokens, and that's the other way around, right?
Yeah.
And
Documented. That's
maybe
so
we
cool.
just exit with this. This handwritten is too long. Okay, let's see how that works. Make regen token. And I was thinking about set, but made an empty dict instead. Right, undocumented tokens are all of them.
Oh, that's so cool.
Documented non-existing tokens set. Yeah, so if this is empty, I probably don't want the line at all. So let's do it like this. And if there are this. No, I guess I'll name it. Okay. Now right, this is not good. So this is RST file name, not the file itself. Error, just to make this easier to see. Great. And now I can change RST back to handwritten, I think. Yeah, it fits on the line. Great.
So great. Nice.
All right. So there's apparently a problem with the token, with the regular expression. I'm using full match, and I probably want to strip the line. Then there might be a new line character at the end that's not matching. Ah, that's it. Great. Now I get a problem with end tokens, anti-offset, token name, and exact token types.
Okay.
Which is good. Which is good because these are not actual tokens.
Oh.
End tokens, anti-offset. I mean, where did that come from? I think those are just
Exact token types.
Let's see what the current documentation says about that. Oh, just end tokens and anti-offset. Where does that actually appear anywhere? End tokens is 66. Okay. And this was documented without anything. Well, apparently end tokens is just the number of tokens, and anti-offset is a special definition to cooperate with the parser. Ah, okay. So this distinguishes between terminals and non-terminals. Huh. Well, if they're documented, they should be documented. But they're not actual tokens. So what I'll do here is just remove them. And tokens, anti-offset. Example token types. And
oh, cool, stands back.
all the tokens are uppercase, right? Remove it from the proper set, and there we go. And I guess we need to assert all tokens are uppercase. Okay, so that's the start here. We remove all of these auto-generated tokens from tokenlist.inc and instead put them in the handwritten file, which means we can remove no index from the duplicates and merge some of the definitions and move them up. And we change the generate token script to check token.rst. There are some special cases, but I think this is better than what we had before for the special cases. Let's add a comment.
Oops, I think you muted yourself, by the way.
Oh, have I?
There you go, you're back now.
Discord thinks okay. If you can hear me, that's that's good.
Yes,
So,
I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine.
Let's do it like this. Should be fine. Tokens of pi, we'll say check docs or only generate docs for literal tokens. Check the rest. Okay, let's see if that works. And in the remaining 3 minutes, what's left here is add documentation for all the tokens here, and I would also like to change this file into a table. Oh, I see end tokens and anti-offset are still generated. That's part of the template. Let's remove that. so that we removed it from the generated file as well. So 3 minutes left. We don't have enough time to handwrite all the documentation here, although we should do that. And the other thing I wanted to do is to convert this to a table so it's easier to read. As this is just, you know, very hard to scan.
Yeah, of course.
And I think for auto-generated stuff, the perfect Sphinx directive is list table.
List table. Okay.
Let's look at some examples about how that's formatted. So list table has a few header rows, and then each row in the table is a list. So this will have one header row, and then the first row or the header will be a list with a sublist for the columns. Right, and then here we'll have the token, which will be data blah blah, and here we don't need to say token value for blah blah, we just use the string, and also we can use an f string, right? We're changing this already. That look? Oh, there's extra empty lines.
Oh wow, Stan is amazing.
Who?
This guy named Stan, who's in the chat. For the stream.
I'm missing the chat.
Yeah, he's got some incredible. He's a piece of work. This guy.
So let's see if that was correct. Oh. There's duplicate definitions for all of the C API, apparently.
Huh.
Hopefully that's just a warning. And hopefully there's nothing else here. Warnings treated as errors. Ah, nice. Yeah, this I think is much better than before, right?
Wow, it's beautiful. It's so awesome.
I mean, it would be better if the table was aligned left, but this is fine. Yeah, these are all the same. We don't need to repeat the same snippet of text everywhere. Alright, so that would be it for today. I will
That's great.
push this to my GitHub in case anybody wants to go over it. Not a pull request yet because it still needs the prose, but I think it's definitely an improvement, even though the workflow is a bit more complicated. Like if you add an actual new token type here, this will yell at you in the way that I don't like. Like CI will yell at you with without doing it automatically, but it yells at you because a human needs to write the documentation. I mean, it could probably remove one of these automatically if it's no longer there, but that's probably not something you want a tool to do. And if you just change one of these, that I think is generated automatically, probably, maybe. So if you change one of these, that will get auto-generated, so that's fine. I think it's doing the right thing. Alright, let's continue this next week.
Oh, what did we name that branch after all?
Token docs.
Token docs. Okay. Thank you.
Let me put it in the chat. Struggling to think of a place I'll look at next week. Well, hopefully I'll find the branch.
Yeah, no, the chat is good. The chat is enduring enough. I mean, it's persistent enough.
Yeah.
It survives live streams.
Hopefully.
Cool.
Right. Thanks for your attention.
Awesome.
Hope this was interesting enough, and see you next week.